It's the light show, as is customary pregame here inside of Mole Arena. Cornerstone and Concordia just about set to kick off. Meeting number 50 overall between these two programs as conference play rolls along for this women's basketball team. Again, 4-0 coming into tonight. Looking to improve to 5-0. Again, they haven't done that since 2008 and the 2009 season. Ended up beating Davenport for what was then a WAC tournament title. Obviously, Davenport a Division II program now, but the hopes still the same for this Golden Eagle squad. Stephanie Ainsworth, the one to tip it off in the middle here tonight as we are underway. Opening tip, and we are rolling here in Grand Rapids. Concordia of Ann Arbor. Cornerstone in their new home uniforms, the new whites with blue along the side, blue numbers, and the gold trim. Concordia putting together a good early season. Again, 5-3, 3-1 in conference play. New head coach this year as that one's nearly knocked away by Folks. Taken back, shot taken. That time Dorn can't hit, and it's going the other way. Helderip out to Folks. Gives it right back to Helderip. Career game last time out against Lords for Kennedy Helderip. Just in general, this offense has shown that they can score and score in bunches, specifically through the first 4 conference games. Folks takes a bump. Ainsworth leads the team in scoring. Dishes it out. Clock running down, and it's a shot clock violation. First defensive possession for Concordia. And they force something we haven't seen a whole lot so far this year. By the way, alongside me, Jesse Campbell throwing on the headset for this game. The SID, the SID. Welcome on, Jesse.
Thank you. Yeah, 2 teams early in this game using their defense. Both teams have high offensive production and have in their most recent games. So to see 2 early defensive possession forcing the whole shot clock is really good to see.
Ball back to Cornerstone. Cornerstone Athletics doing well pretty much on all fronts now. Volleyball team, unanimous conference champions, as there's some pretty clear contact and a whistle. Kierslyn Lawless was the one that came in, committed the foul first for Concordia. But unanimous conference champions, the volleyball team, won a national tournament game here at Cornerstone. I believe that's the first one in history.
Not first one in history, first one in a long time, though. So
in a long time.
Now 3-5 in those games. So, yeah, definitely huge to get them back out at nationals. First time since 2017 since they've been in Sioux City. So that's a big feat for them.
And it was convincingly so. There's a dish inside in our first bucket of the game. That was Dorn, the senior here for Concordia, 2-0. What a dominant season that was. Obviously, the men's side has been doing well for basketball. I'll talk more about them in a little bit. Here's a 3-point shot off the mark. Jaxie Long can't hit. She's over 50% from three-point land. Just off on that one. Here's a shot underneath the basket. It's going back the other way. Taylor Leatherman just rushed her shot a little bit too much. Still 2-0 Concordia, though, just inside of 8 minutes, 7:58 to go.
Yeah, Concordia's had 3 shots right at the hoop, but just not connecting on the layups. Stephanie Ainsworth with the long arms definitely has some of Corey Ainsworth genes as if you follow the men's game, but she's always there and has been protecting the basket well early in this game.
Good footwork. You can see the handles a little bit. Kind of looks like older brother the way she operates the paint. That one goes out of bounds. Right back to Cornerstone, still in search of their first bucket. But that does raise the question, are you going with the volleyball team then when they take off?
I am going with the volleyball team,
okay.
So excited for that. We get a week out in Iowa. So it's pool play style. We talked about that on Saturday, so that we get guaranteed 2 games out there. Get to play St. Xavier first and then Eastern Oregon. So we're excited about that.
Helderip will take a 3, just a little bit too strong. Cornerstone 0 for 2 from the three-point land to start this basketball game.
Yeah, a little unlike CU early. They usually have strong starts to first quarters they have this season and yet to put up a bucket nearly 3 minutes into this contest.
Concordia just probing. Leatherman on the outside. Low-scoring defensive right out of the gate as there's a whistle underneath the basket. Folks gets hit with the body, and 2 shots coming up at the line here for the Cardinals. But just in a general sense, Jesse, this season has been pretty much a night and day difference compared to some of the first few years we saw from Jessica Yonkers. And again, not all her fault. She practically started with a brand new crop of players, but now undefeated in conference play. And, you know, maybe they were picked at or maybe a little bit below this team, but still impressive nonetheless.
Yeah, it's definitely been a huge turnaround, and it's one of those things. You're entering year 4 with head coach Jess Yonkers, so now you really have all of her players starting to come into the program. And when you started this year and they went 0-4 in non-conference play, everybody's like, uh-oh. Like, you know, that's not the start you want. But then you look at those non-conference teams that they played, they all have winning records. So they're teams that we weren't expecting to be as good as they are, but that was a good start for this team. And then they came in, they had a favorable start to the conference schedule with who they played, and they've definitely shown out early in this season.
Stein, jumper is good. Luckily for Cornerstone, finally get their first bucket, now 4-2. A team that's meshing really well. Here is, they decide to pour on the press, as is customary after they get a bucket. They've been in the positive category in terms of takeaways, as this one's up from Leatherman and good. Just found a back door. 6-2 here for Concordia. But on average, taking away more basketballs than what they're giving up. Over 90 steals so far this year for Cornerstone combined. Dish inside off the fingertips of Ainsworth and out of bounds.
It's a great little wraparound pass there from Madison Folks. Ainsworth just couldn't handle it. They had that play lined up perfectly. Looked like Yonkers called that right on the run there, and great half-court set, just couldn't convert.
And part of turning the ball over less this season than what they have in previous seasons is how they're able to move the basketball. It just looks more crisp out there for Cornerstone this year than it has in previous seasons. It just goes to show the synergy that this team is finally finding.
Well, and one thing head coach Jess Yonkers preaches too is, you know, there's going to be turnovers, but if you can find dead ball turnovers instead of live ball turnovers, that's going to lead to a lot of more success. And they've done a lot of that so far in this season. Is if they turn it over, it forces a dead ball and they can set their defense.
Who forces more mistakes? At the end of the day, it oftentimes comes down to that. As long is bumped. Some confusing applause from the Concordia side. It is actually against Cornerstone, so it looks like Long was the one that ended up getting the offensive bump. Of course, the road going to get a little bit harder for the women's basketball team from here on out. Concordia tonight, Indiana Tech, who's always a hard test. They're on deck. And again, the expectations for this women's team right now is just win. Continue to win the day. And I think the other thing, you know, Titus and I talked about last game was how this team has come back healthy. They have all of their weapons available.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously it's a long season. You hope it can stay that way. Mackenzie Steen, who's the one with the only bucket so far, she's a player that you just love to have and love seeing her shoot mid-range after a shoulder injury last year. That was something she wasn't able to do last year. She tried to fight through a lot of injury, and she's obviously improving and getting a lot more healthy, and it's expanding her game.
Ainsworth inside, draws the foul. She'll get a pair of free throws coming up at the line. Part of the power of having a Steph presence like Stephanie Ainsworth is that she's also able to draw a lot of fouls like that, a lot of calls.
Yeah, again, it's that length. She just has incredibly long arms, and it's a factor on both the offensive and defensive ends. I remember watching her in high school. She played in our high school holiday tournament, and Parrish Hudson, who's one of our guards as well, one of their go-to plays was just a three-quarter court heave and let Steph catch it above everybody else. So
it's effective. Second shot's off the back iron, no good. Still 6-3 Cornerstone, or rather Concordia, inside of 5 minutes. Now 4:55 to play. Yeah, that holiday tournament, always pretty huge here at Mole Arena. Right after Christmas break, or at the tail end of Christmas break, as Leatherman drives in, and with the left she scores. 8-3. Point leader for Concordia. Top 5 in the conference is Leatherman. But I always think about that from like a recruiting standpoint. You get to see some of the best high school talent before they even graduate.
Yeah,
Stephanie Ainsworth gets a bump. 2 shots coming up here. 8-3 Concordia, 4:27 to play.
Yeah, that's been something being here for only full-time for 5 years, but being around for a while, it's been interesting because a lot of the players you see at Cornerstone, you saw in that tournament first. Obviously, we recruit Wayland really well. Wayland's always there. You got Carter Knipe, Corey Ainsworth on the men's side. You got Paris Hudson, Stephanie Ainsworth on the women's side. But even the Long sisters, you saw them with Newaygo. It's a school you don't normally get to see that comes up here for that holiday tournament. So it's just so fun to see the high school level succeed in West Michigan and so many great players.
Well, it's just such a great facility, too. And, just getting the players in this facility to play just kind of provides them kind of a look at if you want to play in a nice gym, in a nice stadium like this, you get the chance to.
Yeah, our goal is always a taste of the college level while you're in high school, and that's what we want to provide, whether they choose Cornerstone or not. That's our goal, and that's our mission for those student athletes, and we want to provide that experience over the Christmas break. And we get a ton of great crowds because everybody's looking for something to do over Christmas break as well, so it's tons of fun.
Here's a drive inside for Concordia, and what a bucket. Underneath, Kirsten Lawless able to put it up and in. Another senior for this Concordia team. Under new leadership, Elise Schlump into her first season as the head coach, but isn't necessarily dealing with a lot of new players. Has a lot of seniors, a lot of veteran leadership on this team. Yeah. Off-ball movement not really working for Cornerstone right now. Long to the corner, it's Costin. Here's a long heave, and that one's airballed out of bounds. Kubik couldn't hit anything. The ball goes back to the Cardinals here, 10-5.
Speaking of that new leadership for Concordia as well, it's been funny just watching early on. You got 10 points all inside the paint. Concordia in the past, they were a three-point shooting team. They're going to rip it and shoot it, and you can tell that identity has already started to shift a little bit here as they are just driving the hoop over and over, and we'll see if Cornerstone can find a way to stop that.
Very good at passing the basketball. Haven't had any issues breaking that press for Cornerstone. That was something big for CU in their last game, as well as the last time we joined you on this broadcast against Madonna. As that one's tipped out of bounds, it'll stay with the Cardinals with 3:21 to play. But we were able to force more mistakes, more turnovers using that press. Concordia right now showing the ability to pass the ball pretty well. Try to dish it underneath. That one sailed long, and it's Helderip on the turnover. Driving by herself. Now stops, finds Costin underneath, who goes up and misses everything entirely.
Kind of an awkward position there that Costin found herself in. She was too far under the hoop, so just had to shoot it straight up.
Off the side of the rim, no good on that three-point attempt. I believe that was Kendall Harmon who tried to pull up for that shot. Helderip looks at a three. Golden Eagles yet to hit a three-point bucket so far in this one. They've attempted a few. Helderip over towards the CU logo. Nearly has that one knocked away as now it's rolling around on the ground. Has it back to Kubik, this time for three, and it rattles home. Second attempt, the charm for Kubik. Brings it back to just a two-point game, 10-8 with 2:32 to play.
Great job by Helderop there, just facing adversity. She kind of had the ball knocked away. She had a look at a three that was closed out quickly, and she still kept her head up, found her teammate for the open three.
Talk about players who have come back from injury and have really impressed. She's kind of become the rock of this team. ACL tear, recovered from that, as here's a three from Concordia that's knocked down from the corner. I believe that's Kendall Harmon who hit that three. 13-8. Costin with the basketball. She takes one, and just off the back iron, no good, as Kubik is able to collect. But Kennedy Helderip, an ACL tear, able to bounce back from that injury, and what a service she's provided this season as Olivia Kubik hits that one from deep. Back-to-back threes, it's 13-11. Concordia moving the basketball well as that one just floats. Free throw line jumper, no good. Costin rebounds. Cornerstone will look to push the tempo. Helderip, nice dump inside to Slider, who ties it up. And a timeout for Concordia.